Welcome to Dmac's Mad Game. I'm your host Dmac, and we believe game is a lifestyle, not a hobby. And today we're talking about Destiny 2. I finally got my hands on the beta, put about 30-40 hours into it. Got a lot of things I want to go over with you guys about the beta, and there's a lot of things I want to go over with you about the controversy that's been surrounding Destiny 2 in the Destiny community. Oh my God, it has split the community in half. People are outraged with some of the changes that Destiny done to the multiplayer and to the gameplay mechanics, and some people are praising Destiny for these changes. And we're going to talk about that along with my first impression thoughts about the game as a whole in this video here today. So let's get started. Let's do it. Let's go. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the narrative of Destiny 2 beta. And I got to say, the narrative was interesting. It was engaging. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of excitement. I had a lot of fun playing the narrative. Now, don't get me wrong. The narrative was short, but it was still good enough for me to engage in and stay focused in the game. And that's one thing I feel like Destiny 1 lacked. Destiny 1 lacked a strong narrative to keep me going, keep me playing, keep me engaged in the gameplay. And I gotta say, even though it was a short narrative, they had a lot of gameplay aspects into the narrative that was really fun, really interesting, and I gotta say, it was kind of cool. I caught myself playing with all three different classes with the narrative 3 or 4 times because the narrative was amazing. So, you know, to do that in the beta, you have to delete the one you had and redo the character all over again. And I did that several times because the narrative was really interesting and a lot of fun. There's a lot of chaos happening, so much happening on the screen. It was really exciting. I can really dig the narrative, and if I think the narrative is going to continue playing like this, it's going to be a great story for us to engage in. And that's one of the things I'm excited about with the narrative for Destiny 2. And a lot of people in the Destiny community feel like the narrative was awesome. It was interesting. It's something that they was looking forward to, something that they was really happy about. But a lot of people also said that this would be even better if the game ran at 60 frames per second. And I gotta agree with them. The way it was playing, it was amazing, and it was a lot of fun. And I'm not big on frames per second because I'm a console player, but I feel like this game could play better with some frame rate increase. So Bungie, if you listen to this video, raise that frame rate up for the consoles because the game and the narrative is awesome. The graphics look the same. The characters in the narrative are interesting and full of life. I was impressed with that. Like I said, it was only a small little narrative, but the narrative itself was awesome. So now we're going to go over the actual gameplay mechanics and what people in the Destiny community feel they changed in the gameplay mechanics that wasn't necessarily needed to be changed. So let's talk about that. So there were a couple things in the gaming community that people feel like that Bungie changed in the gameplay mechanics for Destiny that was unnecessary, something that they really didn't need to do. But see, that's the controversy that surrounds it because only half of the Destiny community felt like that. Now, one of the things that I agree with is the movement. As I was playing in the beta and I was doing the narrative gameplay and I also was doing some of the co-op gameplay and multiplayer, I feel like my character was sluggish, stiff, and clumsy. I feel like I could not maneuver in certain areas, especially in enclosed areas when I was being attacked by multiple enemies. And no matter what class I chose, because I play with each one of the classes that they allowed you to play with in the beta, and I feel like my character moved very slowly and very clumsy and very stiff, and it was irritating. It can take you out of immersion when your character moves that slow. And some gamers on social media say, well, that's maybe just the beginning. Remember, it is a beta. It may be you can your movement increase when you upgrade your gear. More gear, more rare gear you get, the faster you move. If that is the reason that they set that up that way, I can get with that. I can understand that. That's an incentive for you to grind. And like I said in my last video, I want an incentive, something to motivate me to grind and get rare equipment, besides just being competitive in multiplayer. If that is one of the things that they need me to do to move faster, is to grind more to get better equipment, I'm down for that. Now, the other things that people are upset about in the Destiny community is about how they nerfed a lot of their abilities. Like certain special ammo you got for certain weapons are nerfed. You're only allowed to have a certain amount of ammo. You're only allowed to be able to use your specials only a certain amount of time in each session. And people lost their minds in the gaming community about that. Especially in multiplayer. Especially when you're playing PvP and PvE. For those who don't understand what that is, that's person versus person and person versus enemy. Now, person versus person is player versus player. Now, person versus enemy is you, the player, playing against the computer, especially when you do co-op missions, like in the first Destiny. All of the things that you were allowed to do in the first Destiny have been nerfed in Destiny 2. And gamers have lost their mind. One of the things that they was upset about is how their special abilities recharge so slowly that they only can use maybe once each session. And people got upset with that. People lost their minds about that. Why is it taking so long for my ability to be charged? Especially in PvE, player versus enemy. Because in co-op missions like that, you want to be able to take out herds quickly. You don't want to be surrounded in an enclosed area with multiple enemies trying to take you and your partners out. So being able to eliminate large amounts of enemies is something that you need when you're playing in multiplayer. And a lot of gamers feel like it was unnecessary for them to nerf these things. Me, myself, like I said, I played the game for several hours, and I ain't find it that bad. I didn't feel like it was something that damaged me so much where I could not complete the game, where it was so hard for me to complete missions with my friends because they nerfed these abilities. Now, just like with the movement, they could do it where you grind more and get better equipment, that you're allowed to have certain special ammo. You're allowed to have less recharge time. These are incentives. These are reasons to play the game multiple times. These are reasons to continue grinding, to be able to become that badass through hard work and tactics and strategy. And that's what I believe multiplayer is all about being able to be strategic and create a strategy that helps you and your team take the advantage of your opponents. That's what competitive gameplay is. And a lot of gamers are just used to being OP and being able to spam abilities all the time. And a lot of gamers in the Destiny community were tired of that. They feel like there needed to be some regulations to that. There needed to be some rules set against that to give people a fair chance of playing. This way, this game is more open to a variety of individuals in the gaming community. More people that have never played a first-person shooter will be able to get on this first-person shooter game, play multiplayer, and have a good time and feel like they have a chance to succeed. And I think Bungie did a great job with integrating that into their multiplayer. And I really feel like that they really need to just tweak it a little bit more and give people more information about it so that they don't feel like they're being cheated, especially for those who are veterans that played the first Destiny and played the first Destiny over and over again and got to a level where they were just badass warriors. I can understand it, and I understand the reason why gamers are upset about that. But you gotta look at it at the developer's point of view. They want to make the game more challenging. They want to give everybody a fair chance to compete in multiplayer and play the game and have a good time. And why not have them incentives? Like I said before in my last video, I like incentives. If you want me to grind, give me an incentive. And these are great incentives if you ask me. And that's just my opinion about it. So the last thing we're going to talk about is the multiplayer aspect and why people are upset about that as well. So let's get started. Let's do it. Let's go. This part that we'll talk about is the multiplayer aspect of the game when I played Destiny 2, the beta. Now, a lot of people was upset in the Destiny community. And let me explain why. A lot of people was arguing because one side of the community played person versus person. The other side of the community plays person versus enemy. So they play co-op missions together, fighting the computer. And a lot of us complaining about, no, my experience is different because they restrict me from doing certain things in that mode than your mode. And y'all both wrong. It's related. Everything you cannot do in person versus person, you cannot do in person versus enemy. It is insane that they're arguing about this. I just like, wow, are you guys 2 years old or something? Let me explain. Now, as I was telling you, that they nerfed a lot of abilities with the gameplay mechanics. And one of the things that they nerfed was the ability to have more weapons in each loadout. Like a lot of times before, you can hold an assault rifle, a shotgun, a handgun, and maybe a sniper rifle all at the same time. And on top of that, your recharge abilities for your supers and your special recharge every 60 seconds to a minute. And a lot of times on maps, players were able to dominate because they would camp out in a certain area and eliminate enemies that gather around that area, especially capture the flag. And half of the Destiny community was upset with that because they had no real skill. They didn't use no real strategy. They didn't use no real tactics. It was just spamming. And gamers in the Destiny community was upset with this, but they continue to play anyway because they say, hey, it's still a fun game. Bungie has changed these rules. They have limited you to certain abilities and the use of certain abilities in each game session. They have limited you to certain weapons. A primal, a secondary, and some of your grenades and your specials. Now, with your specials, you probably use 1, 2 to 3 times in each session with multiplayer, and your specials maybe 1 time out of each session. Now, a lot of people were saying, like, I'm thinking that they're going to make it where as you grind and upgrade, more incentive to get better weapons and rare equipment, that some of the abilities that you used to do and used to have in Destiny 1, you'll be able to have back. But it's because you earned it through tactical strategy. Because you went in there and played fair with everyone else and was able to beat the competition and gather the requirements you needed to get more gear. And I think that's a great symptom, and I think that's something that gamers should really think about when they play competitive multiplayer games. And we all know Destiny is a competitive multiplayer game, and why not have it be an esport? A lot of gamers in the gaming community and in the Destiny community feel like we got too many esport games already. Street Fighter, Call of Duty, Halo. We don't need any more. Why not? The more esport games we get in there, the more exposure we get in the mainstream, and the more they recognize us as skilled players, as unique players, as someone that can go into a gaming session and dominate and use our brains, because they all think we just nerds that sit at home in the basement playing video games. I mean, even though it's not as bad as it used to be back in the day, they still have that same thought, because a lot of times in a lot of YouTube videos and a lot of social media posts, they feel like that we're whining little babies. We complain about everything. Like I said in my last video, we got to quit crying to the developers. This is another thing to have a conversation with the developers, saying, we like this, we don't understand why you did this, can you please explain this? Give time for developers to explain the reason why they do things. They may be creating incentives. And that's one of the things that I felt like Destiny 1 lacked, was incentive. If I'm gonna grind and do repetitive gameplay, I better get some type of great incentive for it. And to me, creating these type of incentives is something that I can get behind, because now I'm limited to certain abilities in multiplayer, and if I want to close that gap with them limited abilities, I need to grind to get better equipment to unlock different abilities to allow me to be stronger, allow me to be able to take advantage of certain maps. You understand what I'm saying? And I feel like that's something that they did very well with this, and I feel like that they should keep it like this. And a lot of gamers in the Destiny community feel like that they're going to change all this. It's going to go back to this old way. And I hope it doesn't, because I'm really feeling Destiny 2. I'm really looking forward to grabbing it on September 6th. I'll probably grab it on the PlayStation 4. Or who knows, I may grab it on the Xbox One X. But I'm really looking forward to playing it, because I really had a lot of fun with it. It was really exciting, intense, especially with the narrative. And with the multiplayer aspects, rules, they changed. It's amazing. Another thing they complain about is how before in the Crucible you could have 6-on-6 teams, especially in person versus person or person versus enemy. And as I said before, that means person versus computer. Co-op missions. Now, they limited it down from 6 teammate squads to 4 teammate squads. And they had a complaint about that. Oh my God, why are they changing that? Why are they making the maps a little bit smaller? I don't know if they enclosed the maps more in Destiny 2. I didn't play multiplayer long enough to know how large the maps were. I maybe played a couple, maybe 4 or 5 hours every day on multiplayer, and that was about it. And I did a lot of co-op missions, because I'm not a competitive game player when it comes to multiplayer first-person shooters. I like to do multiplayer with friends and do co-op missions, because that's more fun for me. That's more intense, and it gives me more incentive to grind and become better. Now, don't get me wrong. If you like competitive first-person shooters, Destiny will give you that as well, especially with these new rules that they put into place. It gives everyone a chance to improve and become better, and it'll help you build skill, because you know a lot of gamers in the gaming community feel like you're garbage because you have no skill. This will allow people to gain skill along with equipment. So when somebody see that you have this rare equipment, it's because you have skill. You use tactics to eliminate your enemies, to get the requirements you need to earn this rare equipment, and that's why you OP. And I think that's a great incentive. I really do. But I would love to know your guys' thought in the comments below what you think about this. Do you feel like that nerfing certain abilities, limiting a certain amount of loadouts you can use, nerfing certain ammo, things like that? Do you really feel like it hinders you in multiplayer or co-op? I would love to know your thoughts in the comment below. Do you feel like this will hinder you because they nerf so many things? They limit you to so much abilities and ammo and equipment that it hinders your actual ability to complete missions? Because myself, I really don't think so. As far as my final thoughts about the beta, I had a lot of fun. It was really fun, intense, and allowed me to play and not worry about being destroyed by other players. So that was awesome. I really enjoyed it. I would love to know your thoughts in the comment below. Let me know. Do you think that the Destiny beta was awesome? Did you get a chance to play it before it ended on July 23rd? I would love to know. And make sure you hit that like button. It helps out the channel a lot. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button, hit that subscribe button to see more content like this. My name is Dmac. Watching Dmac's Mad Gaming, and I'm out.